What's up, folks, and welcome back to Dyce Reacts, where we are staying in London, England tonight. Oh yeah, we are going to be checking out 7 ways British and American drinking culture is very different. Very much so, checks one out. We're going to waste no more time. Just going to get right into it, folks. We're going to get right into it. Oh yeah.
What if I told you that the average Brit drinks less than the average American, but is twice as likely to end up in the hospital? Or that the United States, land of the 21-year-old drinking age and strict open container laws, is home to some of the world's wildest binge drinking. This is the story of UK versus USA drinking culture, and it's a lot more complicated than you might expect.
Oh, really?
Alcohol has been part of human civilization for millennia, but in Britain and America, it took on special significance early. In medieval England, alehouses were the heart of every village. By the 1500s, there were over 24,000 alehouses in England, one for every 200 people. Beer was actually safer than water, and everyone drank it. Men, women, and children. By the 16th century, the English pub, short for public house, had emerged as a uniquely British institution. Pubs were open to all, regardless of class, and it became the unofficial town hall of the nation. The rituals of the pub, like buying rounds, sharing stories, became rituals of British life. Across the Atlantic, colonial America inherited these traditions. Taverns were the centers of early American towns, and the American Revolution was basically plotted in those taverns. By 1776, there were more than 2,000 taverns in the 13 colonies, one for every 150 colonists. But the seeds of difference were already there. America was a new country, shaped by waves of immigration, religious revival, and a restless search for identity. The tavern was a place of possibility and danger. It was a space for freedom, but also a space for disorder. In the 19th century, the two cultures began to diverge. In Britain, the pub survived as a fixture of daily life, even as the temperance movement gained ground. The British government saw the pub as a necessary social valve. It was a place to let off steam, to build community, and to keep the peace. Licensing laws regulated opening hours and alcohol strength, but the pub endured. In America, the temperance movement became a crusade. By 1830, Americans were drinking an average of 7 gallons of pure alcohol per person per year, 3 times today's rate. Fueled by evangelical Christianity and social reformers, temperance activists saw alcohol as a threat to the nation's soul. By 1919, their movement had become powerful enough to pass prohibition, the 18th Amendment, which banned the manufacture, sale, and transport of alcohol nationwide. Prohibition changed everything in America. It drove drinking underground, gave rise to speakeasies and organized crime, and turned alcohol into a symbol of rebellion. When Prohibition was repealed in 1933, these ideas remained. America's relationship with alcohol would always be shaped by suspicion, regulation, and a sense of moral.
Yes, I'm learning some new stuff, man. Stuff I never thought of, to be honest. Yes, and she was going into a deep dive, which I was not expecting. I thought she was going to talk about something more personal to her, but this is awesome. I'm learning a lot from that. Definitely.
Moral ambiguity. Britain, by contrast, never fully embraced temperance. Wartime restrictions did shorten pub hours and watered down beer, but the pub remained a place of community and continuity. The British government saw the dangers of alcohol, but also its social value. The difference between British and American drinking culture is nowhere clearer than in the spaces where people drink. The British pub is like a public living room. There are over 47,000 pubs in the UK today, though this is down from 60,000 in the 1980s. Each year, about 1,000 more close their doors. The pub is intergenerational. Children are welcome until a certain hour, and the regulars span every age. The landlord or landlady can be a community figure, part host, part referee, part therapist. And pubs are deeply local. Some are centuries old with names and signs that recall battles, kings, or local legends. The pub is where you go to be a part of something, to see and to be seen and to belong. In America, the bar is a different animal. There are over 70,000 bars and nightclubs in the US, but the real growth is in breweries. The bar is often more transactional and more individualistic. You order at the bar, you tip the bartender, you might sit alone or with a few friends. The focus is often on the drink itself, craft beer, bourbon, or cocktails, rather than the space and community it provides. American bars are also shaped by geography and mobility. The car, the highway, the vastness of the country means that drinking is often private or semi-private rather than public. The red Solo cup is a symbol of this. It's portable, disposable, and anonymous. The tailgate, the backyard barbecue, the college party, these are where Americans drink. And perhaps the starkest difference is the law. In Britain, the legal drinking age is 18, and it's not unusual for teenagers to have had their first pint with their parents at home or at a pub. Alcohol is sold in supermarkets, corner shops, and petrol stations very easily. Pubs close around 11 p.m., though this has relaxed in recent years, and there are few restrictions on where you can drink. Open container laws are rare, and drinking in public is generally accepted. In America, the legal drinking age is 21, the highest in the developed world. This is a legacy of the 1984 National Minimum Drinking Age Act, which tied federal highway funds to states raising the age to 21. The result is a culture of strict ID checks, fake IDs, and a thriving underground drinking scene among teenagers and college students. Open container laws prohibit drinking in public spaces in most cities, and alcohol is often sold only in licensed stores and in some states, not on Sundays. These laws shape attitudes. In Britain, drinking is normalized, integrated into daily.
Okay, I didn't know that part. I didn't know that some stores don't sell alcohol on Sundays in America. Is this true, or was this like something that was in the past? Is it still today? Because it sounds old-fashioned. Like where in America that they refuse to sell alcohol on Sunday? That it's a law. I don't know. I don't know. You guys hit me up in the comments. Americans, hit me up in the comments. British Americans, hit me up in the comments. Is this something that still exists today in any state?
Life. In America, drinking is often seen as a rite of passage, a forbidden fruit, and something that has to be done in secret. This creates a paradox. American teenagers drink less often than their British counterparts, but when they do, they're more likely to binge. Binge drinking is a term that means different things in different places. In the UK, it's often associated with things like hen parties or lads' night out. In the US, binge drinking is most closely associated with college life, fraternity parties, and spring break. According to the CDC, 1 in 6 American adults binge drinks about 4 times a month, consuming an average of 7 drinks per binge. Among college students, 33% report binge drinking in the past month. Binge drinking accounts for more than half of the 95,000 alcohol-related deaths in the US each year. In the United Kingdom, among
Come again?
3% report binge drinking in the past month. Binge drinking accounts for more than half of the 95,000 alcohol-related deaths in the US each year. In the United Kingdom, among 16 to 24-year-olds, 38% of men and 27% of women binge drink at least once a week. Hospital admissions for alcohol-specific conditions in England reached 358,000 in 2022, a 19% increase over the previous decade. In Britain, binge drinking is often a public social activity. Nights out in city centers, especially on weekends, are marked by groups moving from pub to pub, drinking quickly and often ending the night with a takeaway meal. The lad culture of the 1990s and 2000s, immortalized in TV shows like Men Behaving Badly, celebrated heavy drinking as a form of bonding and rebellion. In America, binge drinking again is more likely to be private or semi-private. College parties, tailgates, house parties. It's the fraternity party, the spring break trip, the 21st birthday. These are American rites of passage, often marked by excess drinking. And what's the cost? In the United States, binge drinking costs the US economy $249 billion per year in lost productivity, healthcare, and criminal justice costs.
Dang.
Nearly 1 in 4 adults admit to driving after drinking too much at least once in the past year. In the United Kingdom, alcohol is responsible for 7,500 deaths per year in England alone. The NHS spends £3.5 billion annually treating alcohol-related harm. British police report that 40% of violent crimes are alcohol-related, but the response is different. In Britain, public health campaigns focus on moderation, on changing social norms, on promoting alternatives like dry January. In America, the response is more likely to be legal.
What the hell is dry January? Like they're taking a break from alcohol? Is this like a, I wouldn't say I won't say a law, but it's just something like almost like they encourage people to participate in it. It's not something that has to be done, but they encourage it in terms of I would say like a social event for like a month. Hit me up in the comments. Um, is it tied to any type of religious belief, or is just like some social, I would say like awareness or abstinence or something of that nature? I've never heard of dry January.
Stricter enforcement, zero tolerance policies, and a focus on individual responsibility. Now let's talk about the rituals surrounding drinking, because British drinking culture is built on the ritual of the round. One person buys drinks for the group and the responsibility rotates. This creates a sense of obligation, of belonging, and of mutual care. It also means
Because we do it in our country, like when people go out, people make rounds, each individual make rounds. So is this like a British thing? Like the origin of it? I never thought about the origin of it. I thought, for real, is this a British thing? Ooh, that's interesting.
that drinking is social, more paced, and communal. The pub quiz, the darts match, the sing along, these are rituals that bind people together when they drink. In America, the ritual is happy hour. Discounted drinks after work, a chance to unwind, to network, to escape the grind. The focus is on the individual. What you order, how much you tip, how you manage your own consumption, it's all up to you. American bars are more likely to have TVs, loud music, and a faster pace. And moderation also means different things. In Britain, moderate drinking might mean several pints over an evening, spread out with conversation and food. In America, moderation is often measured in units, in abstinence days, in self-control. The legacy of temperance lingers in the language. Responsible drinking, alcohol-free. Now, drinking in Britain has historically been male-dominated, but this has changed. Women now make up nearly half of pub goers, and the rise of the gastropub has made pubs more family-friendly than ever. Still, there are old man pubs, student pubs, posh pubs, each with their own codes and clientele. In America, bars have always been more mixed, but also more segregated by age, race, and class. The cocktail lounge was a space for women in the 1920s, the dive bar, a refuge for working men, the college bar, a rite of passage for students. The craft beer revolution has brought new diversity, but also new forms of exclusivity. Now, both cultures are also shaped by drinking stereotypes. The Brits are seen as heavy drinkers, stoic in the face of hangovers, masters of what they call a session. The American is the frat boy with a keg, the cowboy with his whiskey, or the suburban dad with a six-pack. But the reality is more complex. British drinking is actually declining. Per capita alcohol consumption has fallen by 16% since the early 2000s.
Wow.
Young people are actually drinking less, and dry January is now a national phenomenon. In America, drinking is rising among older adults, women, and minorities, even as teen drinking falls. Now let's talk about the rituals of drinking and celebration, because alcohol is woven into the celebrations of both cultures. In Britain, the pub is the place for every milestone. Birthdays, weddings, funerals, retirements. In America, it's about the toast, the shot, the champagne at New Year's, or the beer at the ball game. The British wake, for instance, is a communal affair with stories, laughter, and pints raised to the departed. The American funeral is often dry, with alcohol reserved for the reception or the private home. The British wedding is a marathon of drinking. The American wedding is more likely to have an open bar or a signature cocktail, but also a last call. And as I've mentioned, the legacy of Prohibition still shapes American drinking culture. Many states have blue laws that restrict alcohol sales on Sundays. Some counties are still dry, banning alcohol altogether. Open container laws are strictly enforced in most cities, and drunk driving laws are harsh. The designated driver is a staple of American social life. In Britain, regulation is lighter. Pubs are licensed, but alcohol is widely available. Drunk driving is punished, but the culture of walking to the pub or taking public transport makes it less central. The British approach is more about managing risk rather than enforcing abstinence.
She didn't lie, because this was a deep dive. This was more in detail. I wouldn't say complex, it was more in detail than I thought it would have been. But it was great nonetheless. Wow. Some good information and good like to be in terms of the comparisons. very observant. Yeah, so where I'm from, we get a lot of British habits that I'm seeing. I mean, I know we have, British aspects, but some of the things that we do, the younger generation, we don't know where it came from, but I'm learning some things from her content, and I'm seeing that we still have it ingrained in us, a lot of the things from the United Kingdom. So that's interesting. Based on what she said there, I would put myself more as a pub drinker because I'm more of a social drinker. I don't drink alone. Very rare I drink alone. And if I drink, maybe just a little something, but I don't do no kind of hangover or binge drinking, anything like that. I'm more of a social drinker. So definitely a pub setting will be more on my end based on what she said there. So that's an eye opener, and I'm shocked that there's some place in America that doesn't sell alcohol on Sunday. I don't know if this is accurate. I don't believe it. Maybe in the past, but in 2025, I don't believe it. You guys hit me in the comments. Tell me the state. Tell me the city. Everything that I need to know and I'm gonna check it out myself exactly where that is because it sounds so. If it was in another country, but in America, I guess I'm British after all. I'm British. I'm from London, England. Yes, with my drinking. Yes, so I'm gonna keep all those information in mind. I'm gonna even ask a few friends of mine, where do you think, some of those things that we do, and we thinking it's just maybe like just from in our country that it came about, but no, we got those habits from somewhere else. I'm gonna put them to the test. I'm gonna act like I always knew that. So that was a good video. Definitely, I'm gonna be checking out more from her. If you want to see that long drawn outro that I do, hit me up on Dyce Reacts by the music reactions. This is where I'm gonna be making my exits until next time. Peace out.